whole storyline of Harry Potter being all about a kid who like feels like out of place and out of touch, and it's like
That's a good point, to be honest.
It's nice, not bad. She says you're full of shit, though.
I'll battle her.
You guys heard about JK Rowling's?
Rowling?
Thank you. She is daring law enforcement to arrest her.
She's pretty hardcore, huh?
How dare you?
She has gotten so weird over the
You think
years.
she's weird?
Yeah. I used to be like a big HP fan, but she's just become a little hater.
What is she hating on?
Well, she's like a major TERF. I don't fuck with that.
What's a TERF?
A TERF is like a trans exclusionary radical feminist. So she doesn't see trans women as women.
hearing
and
that.
she doesn't,
Okay, wait. Break it down for
Trans
us.
exclusionary.
so she doesn't see trans women as women, which, in my opinion, isn't cool. But whatever. But she's also super public about it, and she's just really hateful. And
Like campaigning
vitriol.
against
Yeah,
it?
it's like, why campaign about it so publicly with your platform? Especially with the whole storyline of Harry Potter being all about a kid who, like, feels, like, out of place and out of touch, and it's like...
That's a good point, to be honest.
It's nice, not bad. She says you're full of though.
I'll battle her.
Yeah. So she says freedom of speech and belief was at an end if there was an accurate description of biological sex being outlawed. Scotland just had a law, right, about, they call it the Hate Crime Public Order Act of 2021. They created a new crime of stirring up hatred related to
Scotland
age.
said no haters allowed.
Yeah, related to age, disability, religion, sexual orientation, transgender identity, or being intersex. The law does not protect women as a group from hatred. The Scottish government is expected to include this later as a separate misogyny law. And JK Rowling posted the next day, as soon as they put this legislation in, she wrote the next day, Scottish lawmakers seem to have placed higher value on the feelings of men performing their ideal of femaleness, however misogynistically or opportunistically, than the rights and freedoms of actual women and girls. Wrecked.
I feel
Annihilated.
like isn't this like what she wants? She wants a differentiation between trans women and women. Well, that's exactly what she's getting. Like if she wanted it to be like, isn't that what she wants? She wanted a differentiation, so she wants them to be included in a different category.
I don't know.
Like this is what she wants. So what is she actually mad about? She's mad that trans women
To me, when
are
women talk, I
recognized.
go, oh, no.
So they're recognizing that
I
it's a
tuned
different
her
category.
out.
I feel like she would be much madder if they put trans women under women in general as one category. Wouldn't that make her way madder?
Yeah, she'd probably be more pissed at that.
Yeah. So like this is what she wanted, which is that she wanted them to be categorized differently as different forms of marginalized.
But it also sounds like what she really wants is for them to be even more outside.
Yeah, I think she just doesn't want them to be protected in any way like that.
Protected means what?
You know what I randomly also like think is a weird attribute to it? It's the fact that one, she's a brilliant writer, right? So obviously she captivated the entire fucking world.
Except for me.
Multiple generations.
Didn't like Harry Potter, not gonna.
Most people.
Yeah, never got
Can we
into it.
agree to most people?
You have no imagination, man.
Yeah,
Steve, can you just
Steve?
at least agree to most people?
It's fine, most people did, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So she is somebody who is her superpower is in vernacular, right? So I sometimes also feel like the argument isn't even rooted in the core to like her own belief system about the differentiation between the two, but sometimes it's about like if the word choice defines or describes this, and then somebody argues through the use of the verbiage versus like the belief of the thing. I think that she maybe also inadvertently gets triggered by it because she's such a wordsmith and a
Like she gets
superhero
stuck on
of verbiage.
semantics. I don't know if she would make.
Because I think half the battle between the whole gender thing, honestly, and again, I'm not trying to downplay it, I feel like so much of it is semantics. More than it is like what people actually give a fuck about, to be honest, right?
Well, JK Rowling particularly is against, like, if you go into a gymnasium and you're a woman and you gotta go in the showers, and then you see like some dude's dick out, and then she's like, "That's a dude," but then that dude's like, "Hey, I'm wearing a wig. I'm actually a chick." To her, that's what the reality is, right? I just described it in such a way, but that's how she sees it.
But the battle ends up being a semantics thing. And that's what I feel like if you're a semantics person, like the nature of your career and your superpower, your life superpower is revolved around that. I feel like that's your place and your choice of argument. Because like 90% of arguments is on fucking X. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a constant battle.
On Facebook, you just get banned.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like
I see what you mean.
It's an entire semantics problem. So suddenly when somebody like says something that if you didn't want to discredit their ability to use the semantics, the belief system may have been in line with like something that was conceptually correct, but their word choice was like incorrect. It would be easier for her, which she has done like 99 out of 100 times, respond in something that made in a weird sense like semantics kind of correctness, even if the moralic perspective of it was like wrong or something like
Well, let's talk more context. So she says freedom of speech and belief are at an end in Scotland if the accurate depiction or description of biological sex is deemed criminal.
That's what I'm saying. The relationship between the biological description is with the freedom of speech. It's about a semantics problem to her.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like she's so good at it.
But she's being the Scottish police are basically, or the law is basically saying we will arrest you for such a thing if you're misgendering people.
Which is why I understand why she might be angry.
Like arresting someone is crazy.
Agreed.
But I feel like that's like on par of like, you know, calling someone a slur. I feel like that's like a minor like social faux pas, which should be corrected and be considered of. Arresting is a little crazy.
Agreed. Yeah. That's extreme though.
But isn't that what Jordan Peterson was fighting with Canada?
Yeah.
And their
Yeah,
politics
it is.
about? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fighting for them, forcing him
is
to do
the
something.
freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also JK Rowling highlighted some criminal cases, including transgender rapist Isla Bryson and Andrew Miller, who abducted and assaulted a girl within Scotland. And she described them as men in a series of posts, and also included transgender campaigners and other individuals, basically calling them out, saying like, hey, look, you guys don't get to skirt the law by using this to get implanted into female prisons where you can like rape people who are there, stuff like that. She's talking about specifically.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I also think that like she's crazy because she's like probably bored and shit. Like I think anybody who's a fucking multi-billionaire, if you're a multi-billionaire, just shut up and chill.
She's talking about specific cases.
But she specifically, it's like what I'm saying, there's like no real reason for her to fixate on this exact, very specific niche subculture issue. And there's honestly a lot more issues that her energy should be better, like, targeted to.
It's because she's bored and she's getting called out all the time, so she's like, motherfucker, you're not saying these things right.
It feels like a strangely personal thing because she keeps campaigning against this specific group of people.
Well, she's a feminist.
What better issues do you think she should focus on?
Literally anything in general. But I think this whole battle, personally for me, I have a lot of trans friends. I feel like the hatred campaign towards them right now is very similar to what gay people and any other type of marginalized community felt years ago. It's just a repeat. We're trying to find a scapegoat for today's problems, and this is an easy group to shift the focus on. It doesn't really matter how anyone identifies anyways, and we can all agree that because a lot of us are annoyed about anyone's pronouns. It's really no one's business, so why does it matter to her? We can talk about like the violent transgenders that exist without talking and lumping all transgenders in them.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I don't think that. I think she's talking about specific people. She's not saying all of it in these specific statements.
She's pointing out that particular crime?
People and saying like, these people did a thing and that's messed up.
That nuance.
But then those people are being apologized for by some parts of the movement, and
that just sounds like an overcorrection.
I agree with you.
It just sounds
that makes
I
sense.
mean, that's nothing new. Everyone's taking advantage of some law somewhere, and I think that's just these people.
Right.
But I think that's just an overcorrection where they're like, oh, we need to like defend these particular people, but I don't think anyone should be on their side.
No, that's all I think.
That's not a trans thing. That's a these people thing. That's like
It's like when criminals are being defended when they did a thing, and then people go, but we should be sensitive towards their pronouns, I'm like,
I think if I committed a heinous crime, I wouldn't want to drag down all Filipinos with me.
right, but that's more nuance.
You guys should all stay out.
That's the nuance
Or
that I'm talking
Indians.
But God forbid there's nuance.
They're nuanced.
But yeah, that's right. It's like you don't lump everybody into one person's crime.
Hopefully
Like
not.
that's.
Sometimes it's easier to make arguments though. When you try to make arguments, you gotta lump everyone all in one.
But that's why I think some people just do it too hard.
Yeah.
Like they do it a little wrong.
But that's what I'm saying. That's also the price of probably being an icon or a celebrity. She's probably getting so much heat from every corner of the globe.
She's definitely worked up about it.
Opinion, right?
Take a side.
About this thing, and then she's just bored. She's just not doing productive shit with her own
She's
time.
also rich enough to not back down.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. She could chat some shit. Yeah, she got some time today.
Semantics and
yeah.
boredom. That's what I'm saying.
I do wish that people generally, society could separate crimes, particularly crimes.
Legit. Me too.
Separate crimes from like
too.
what people identify as, what race they are. Just separate the
Yes.
freaking crimes, man. Like that's a little bit like
Yeah,
weird
bad
for
person
everybody.
trumps what every
Yeah.
other fucking
Crimes are a
social
different
concept is.
category.
Yeah.
Like, if you shut up a school, I don't care what your pronoun was, bro. Like, I just think that you're a piece of shit.
you fucked up, dude.
But it's like it would be the same thing as if I got in trouble for something and then I reached out to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, of which I don't do anything for them.
Yeah.
But then like once I'm in trouble, then I'm like, hey, come save me, community that I don't contribute to at all.
Right.
Like not every one of these people that identifies as anything or they're Filipino or whatever is a pinnacle of that community either. Like I don't know if everyone deserves to have
But you were
everybody
born
come
into
through.
it,
Like that
so you're a
attachment.
product of your environment. Even though you don't associate with them now, that's like the same thing as saying you don't choose to be Filipino 7 years later. Like whatever.
Did you see the there's like this crazy ass like thing in California prisons where like a bunch of like inmates, they would identify as female, and then so they get to go into the female prisons, and then they end up being a bunch of them, and then also they can like get like titty implants while they're in prison.
They can also. Who pays for that? The commissary?
Our tax dollars apparently,
because it's like mentally.
but then it helps them.
Yeah.
I'm like, what
But that's
the
what I mean, it's
fuck
like-
is happening?
There are still going to be people that take advantage of every single loophole law there
Yeah.
is, like for any reason. I don't think there's any difference. I just think that's just another crime.
If you're to me, if you're going to jail, and if you can't get titties, it's not America.
Yeah. That's why people come here.
Right.
You come here to get your fucking
Because
titties.
you're not gonna get titties in prison if you're a guy.
Not in
so
Somalia, dude.
That's the American.
Might as well
dream.
use the loopholes.